Hello my beautiful friends and welcome back to our channel. My name is Beck. I am a professional mindset coach with a background as a medical doctor. I liberate driven professional women from perfectionism, imposter syndrome and people pleasing so they can live a life where they express and assert themselves in a way that they're proud, both personally and professionally. This is so important in successful women where these disempowering mindsets are also common. And what it means is that no matter how much success we create in our lives, we never really get to enjoy it. We're never really following and creating lives that are what we want. And we know that the most common regret of the dying is, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself rather than one that others expected of me. So it doesn't seem to matter how successful or smart you are. As humans, we tend to fall for this trap of doing the right thing, when what's most important is first working out what the right thing for us is. Before we go and give that goal, that value set, all of the grit and determination, the hard work that we as successful people have to give so easily. Doing the work is not hard for successful people. It's putting your work in the direction that matters. That's hard. Now, speaking of coaching, it is quite exciting for me to be filming this video here with you today because I'm actually in Madrid, Spain. So I've just taken my 3 weeks off my annual leave. My one-on-one clients have gracefully taken that time off with me so that I could potter around France and Spain. But even more excitingly for me, I am now going to be working from Madrid for the next 5 or so weeks and then America for the next 3. So this is such a dream come true for me in my life as a whole. While I'm here, I'm also going to be creating the first modules for my group coaching program that's coming up soon. My one-on-one is currently full. I'm not quite open for consults yet, but if you click the waitlist down below, pop in your email, you can be the first person to hear about not only when another one-on-one free consult spot comes up, but also to be the first to hear about when the doors for my group coaching program will open. And other exciting things that I'm doing here is I'm going to be preparing my slide deck for my first presentation at a world conference. So Wonka is coming to Sydney for 2023, which is the world conference for family medicine practitioners or general practitioners in Australia and the UK. And I was selected to teach a workshop there. So that's one of the first things I'm going to be doing when I get back to Australia and something that I'm going to be creating from here as well. So that's a bit of a life update for me. I am feeling so lucky and so excited for what's to come. So thank you guys so much for being a part of this journey with me. I know some of you guys have been watching my channel since I was back in medical school. So if you're still here, oh my goodness, that's so fun. And for anyone who's new here, who's come on this recent ride and change with me, I'm always so grateful to meet like-minded people and people who really want to take responsibility in their life and make changes that make not only you and yourself better, but almost automatically by doing that make the rest of the world a better place for everyone. So I appreciate you. I'm so glad you're here. And without further ado, let's get into this video. Today we're talking about 3 super easy journaling hacks that are going to help you create more consistency in your journaling work. Now, none of these are difficult. They're all super easy. Little tiny changes you can implement that will help you finally build this life-changing habit. A lot of the time I will prescribe my clients certain journaling exercises, and also in general, I want for all of my clients to have some form of a small, efficient journaling practice in their lives so that they can continue to maximize all that their mind has to offer and create everything they want in their life. But it's so hard. It's really hard, and I appreciate that too. I struggled with journaling when I first started. I had to go several times on and off the wagon again and again before I really became consistent with it. And I've got a much longer list of how I finally became consistent. However, today, here are 3 super easy tips. Let's get into it. The first one, now this is going to be controversial. Forget the notebook. Everybody talks about the notebook, the journaling notebook, the nice paper, the pages, the prettiness, da. I say the pen. If I was going to invest in one item to help me journal, it wouldn't be the notebook, it's the pen. I've been known to journal on scrap paper, and that was one of the things that made me able to be consistent in the first place. The fact that I was willing to just scribble on anything that I had. I didn't have to wait until I had my precious perfect notebook with me to do it. But a pen is much more of an easy thing to have carrying around in your pocket, especially me as a med student and a junior doctor. I always had a pen with me. Now, I don't have any pen recommendations. This one's from Officeworks. And what I like about it is it's like a really inky pen. It writes so easily. Every time I have had so many of these pens stolen from me in the hospital. Every time somebody takes this pen off me, they're like, wow, that's a nice pen. But you just buy it in like a pack of 4 or so for $12 or $15. And it's really inky, as I said. And the other thing is, I think, the thickness. So it's a 0.07 tip pen. So that is tip number 1. Forget the notebook, but get yourself a pen that makes writing just feel like a lovely experience. Tip number 2, make it short. I know that the temptation is to plan to do a half hour, an hour of journaling, to journal to the point that you dig down to some big, deep, important thing, or that you're able to make some enormous transformation by spending that much time and going sequentially through question after question after question. And as much as there's a lot of merit in that, today what we're talking about is consistency. I think any of us can sit down for an hour once and journal. But if I had to choose for you in terms of creating results between one 1-hour session that never gets repeated because it's too difficult, it's too much of a sacrifice, it's too uncomfortable at first, versus 8 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes every single day, 5 days a week for a year, I would pick the latter every single time. It's not that there's not merit to the depth that you can get with that amount of time spent journaling if you keep digging and digging and digging. But for a lot of us, it's the consistency that helps us change our brain and build the skill. Just going deep once may create some epiphany, but what I want from you from journaling is to change the way that you relate to your brain, to change the way that you hold your thoughts, and to change how many of your thoughts, and in my journaling practices, emotions, you're able to be aware of. So when it comes to journaling, more in terms of time in the session is not always better. In this case, I'd actually say less is better, because less on one day is more likely to create more for you in the longer term. So that was tip number 2, make it short. I do 8 to 12 minutes each day, and if I'm in a rush, I will do 2 minutes. 1 minute, I'll write down one thought as opposed to nothing. That's how much I believe in the importance of consistency and the impact of putting even just one thought to paper. Now, tip number 3 is to change your definition of consistency. Because if you're watching this channel, I'm willing to bet you have some elements of perfectionism that are resonating with you. And what we're at risk of when we're so used to this mindset is this all or nothing black and white thinking. And we're hard workers. We have used consistency in our life in so many places to get important results. But the problem with the way that we think about consistency in this black and white manner is we are only happy with ourselves and only think that we could be making progress and only think that we're doing the right thing if we are consistent in the sense that we never, ever, ever miss a day, right? So this looks like making a plan to journal every day for the next month, 7 days a week. And I'm all for you setting those goals that really stretch you and really force you to change and adjust to meet them. But the truth is, for a lot of us, we have multiple competing priorities in our lives. Between our career, our family, our health, our joy, our spirituality, all these other elements of life mean that sometimes it's not the right thing to prioritize journaling that day, for example. Maybe that day we need to rest. Maybe that day we wanted to spend time socially. Maybe that day we wanted to knuckle down on a project or some work that we had to do. And as much as I could say, just do a minute, the fact is sometimes it doesn't happen. And the risk is when your version, your definition of consistency is every day, no matter what, black and white, then when that day comes and you don't do the minute, you don't do the 8 minutes, you don't do the 12 minutes, you don't do the 30 minutes or 60 minutes that you planned, if you make that mean you haven't been consistent, and you make that mean you're not going to get the results, and you make that mean, well, I might as well stop anyway, now you're going to stop. So the way that I like to think about consistency is more often than not, and there's a really rough rule. I heard this a while ago and I can't credit who said it. It was probably somebody on Tim Ferriss's podcast or something, but they said, you can miss a day but not two. And I really, really like that. You can miss a day but not two. And notice how if you can allow yourself to miss a day, but then hold that standard of not missing two, you can stop that falling off the wagon cycle. You can allow for life to happen, for things to go wrong, for you to mess up as you're trying to build this new habit, and for it to not mean a downward spiral, but just a little blip that ultimately keeps you on this upward trajectory. Duolingo does this brilliantly. So I've been learning a bit of Spanish on Duolingo, poco poco. I stress a little Spanish. And they do something really clever with their streaks. So with streaks, Duolingo will automatically show you and keep track of how many days in a row you do a lesson. And they have this feature of this daily tracking when they give you a star each day, where if you've been consistent in the past days before that, they'll sort of forgive you for the day that you missed and color it in and allow you to keep passing. They won't say that your streak has been broken, but if you've built up some consistency, you've almost earned the ability to have a day off. They will let your streak continue without saying it's broken if you just miss one day. Now, I'm not sure what happens if you miss 2 days. I don't know if that's what amounts to a broken streak and then you have to start again from 0 days. And I should really look this up, but the general idea that I picked up on is you sort of can build up this immunity or protection that allows you to earn a day off because you've done a lot of work building up before. And the same thing happens, I think, with journaling and our brains, the way that we change our brains. We build these skills and new patterns and new pathways in our neural networks, just like you see in the gym. You know, if you've been consistent for several weeks, you can afford to take a week off. You can afford to get sick and come back to the gym and not notice so many gains. But if you're early on in the piece, you can't go around doing one session and then taking a week off and then doing another session in most cases. You need to earn that momentum that allows you to have a couple of days off. So my beautiful friends, this third tip is really about you changing your idea of consistency from being this perfectionistic black and white every single day, no matter what, to consistency that simply reflects the amount of stimulus that your body and your brain requires to change and to maintain a change too. And that's not necessarily journaling every single day. You can afford to take a day off here and there, especially if you've been building the habit with consistency in the days and weeks before it too. And moreover, when you hold that perfectionistic idea of consistency, it is going to make you more likely to be falling off the wagon, having a big, unnecessary, non-aligned break, and then coming back and repeating that cycle. So my beautiful friends, I hope these 3 tips on how to be more consistent with your journaling practice feel really easy and inviting to you, because if you can build this habit, you're going to get so much more control and choice and clarity in your life, and that's going to make so much more available to you in this lifetime. My beautiful friends, if you know this is the kind of work that you need in your life, my waitlist is down below. Put your name down so you don't miss out on the upcoming opportunities, and I'll see you in my next one.